All right, let's just get right into it. Welcome to the Explainer. We are currently right in the middle of a massive paradigm shift across the entire tech industry in 2026. I mean, software development is undergoing a fundamental transformation from the ground up, and it's all being driven by this methodology called vibe coding. Top AI tools like Cursor, Claude Code, and Windsurf, they are completely rewriting how we actually do our jobs. We're finally, thankfully, moving away from that soul-crushing manual boilerplate drudgery we've all had to suffer through. Instead, we're stepping into this world of pure flow-state coding, massively amplified by top-tier large language models. So, here is our roadmap for today's Explainer, designed to give you the exact playbook to get those 50% speed gains in your own workflow. We'll hit Section 1, what is vibe coding? Section 2, the top tools ranked. Section 3, models, Claude versus GPT. Section 4, pro tips for developers. And finally, Section 5, the future of coding. Let's go. Starting with the basics. Section 1, what exactly is vibe coding? Okay, so vibe coding is really all about hitting that elusive flow state, but doing it like 3 times faster than you ever could manually. It's this highly intuitive AI-driven workflow where you literally just describe your intent, your vibe. You just tell your agent, hey, build a responsive dashboard with dark mode and wire up some real-time user metrics. And then you pause, you let the machine take over. This complex multi-agent orchestration kicks in, syncing with your IDE and your terminal to handle the heavy lifting. We're talking full-stack scaffolding, massive cross-file refactoring, even cloud deployment. You get to step up and act as the creative architect, focusing on system design, while the agents just act as your incredibly fast, tireless typists. I mean, think about the huge leap we've made in just a couple of years. Remember back in 2024, we were relying on basic autocomplete tools, like those early versions of Copilot, which basically just guessed your next line of code based on what was right in front of it. It was helpful, for sure, but kind of just a localized Band-Aid. Fast forward to today, 2026, and we are working with sophisticated multi-agent orchestration. These tools use file-aware agents that actually read and digest your entire codebase. They predict your broader architectural intent and literally iterate autonomously. They don't just write a single function anymore. They scaffold out whole features, update the routing, write the unit tests, and wire up the database all at the exact same time. It's wild. And because of this monumental leap, adoption has already hit an astonishing 70% among professional developers. 70%. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't some fleeting gimmick. These workflows are systematically slashing project prototyping times from exhausting multi-day grinds down to mere hours. Whether you're building massive open source projects, modernizing some clunky legacy enterprise system, or prepping complex cloud deployments, having this kind of sheer velocity is an absolute game changer. Which brings us to the software making this all happen. Section 2, the top tools ranked. So looking at the absolute S-tier apps, the ones actually bringing those massive speed gains to your daily workflow, Cursor is hands down the undisputed king right now. With its composer mode for multi-file agents and what everyone affectionately calls YOLO mode for rapid entire repo refactors, it's delivering a massive 55% average speed gain. Then you've got Claude Code. This acts as an elite terminal pair programmer powered by Claude 4.6, delivering huge 45% efficiency gains, especially for those deep headache-inducing architectural refactors. And definitely do not sleep on Windsurf. It uses these incredibly powerful cascade pipelines that fluidly chain your prompts from design to code straight into automated testing for a solid 50% speed boost. It's just perfect for spinning up full-stack prototypes. But look, the ecosystem goes way deeper than just your primary IDE. For specialized tasks, we have some phenomenal low-code, no-code, and terminal apps. You've got V0 by Vercel, which turns a plain English prompt into a gorgeous, deployable UI in literal minutes. Then there's Lovable, absolutely dominating the MVP space by generating full-stack apps backed by Superbase. And get this, it has an 80% non-developer adoption rate. Base 44 is pushing those no-code prototypes straight into robust production. And finally, Warp. Warp is an absolute essential. It's an AI-native DevOps terminal where you just use natural language to orchestrate complex bash pipelines and GCP sandboxes. Because let's be real, nobody actually enjoys writing bash scripts from scratch, right? So what are the actual engines under the hood? Section 3, models, Claude versus GPT. To really squeeze the maximum potential out of these tools, you have to know which AI model excels in which specific scenario. If we look at the SWDench verified scores, which is basically the gold standard for tracking how well these models autonomously resolve real-world GitHub issues, Claude 4.6 is completely dominating the field with an 80.8% success rate. It's heavily beating out GPT 5.4, which is sitting at 77.2%. Claude has also secured total dominance on the leaderboards with a 1561 coding ELO score. That victory is largely thanks to its brilliant extended thinking mode, where the model internally verifies and self-corrects its own logic before it even outputs a single line of code. Here's the thing, though. You have to match the model to the task. There's no one-size-fits-all magic bullet here. While Claude 4.6 clearly edges out GPT in raw code quality, bug squashing, and delicate refactors, making it your absolute go-to for complex open-source pull requests, GPT 5.4 actually crushes fast, iterative terminal tasks. If you need rapid, almost instantaneous execution, or you're running high-speed agent frameworks, leaning on GPT-powered cursor agents or Windsurf instances is usually the better play. Using the right engine for the right job is the real secret to maximizing your output. Let's turn all this theory into an actual actionable routine. Section 4, Pro Tips for Developers. Imagine you want to turbocharge your open source contributions this weekend. You want to push some major features. Here is the exact stack and workflow you should use. Step 1, equip your core stack. Fire up Cursor, bind it directly to Claude 4.6 via the API to secure that 80% SWE bench win rate, and use Warp as your terminal. Step 2, clone down your target repo. Step 3, just prompt your Vibe in the composer. Tell the agent in plain English, add eval metrics for the new endpoint, and let it digest the existing architecture and propose the cross-file diffs. Step 4, thoroughly review the output, run your tests, and commit. Devs using this exact flow are literally doubling their weekly commit velocity without sacrificing an ounce of quality. It's amazing. And if you want to get a little fancy, there are some incredibly powerful advanced workflows. For privacy-focused or completely offline dev, you can use Bolt.new to run cutting-edge models like Llama 4.1 locally, right on your M1 Mac, getting sub-second latency for secure fine-tuning. If you need instant cloud architecture, the Replit Agent can scaffold, test, and host entire apps straight to GCP with just conversational prompts. Or, for enterprise security, you can actually chain Windsurf agents together with DeepSeek Coder to perform fully automated bias checks and comprehensive security red teaming before you merge. But look, we have to talk about the realities of the tech, because it isn't magic. While an astonishing 90 to 95% of this autonomous generation is highly successful, honestly, often beating out human junior developers on tedious boilerplate, these agents still hallucinate or introduce subtle logic errors about 5 to 10% of the time, which means blind reliance is a really dangerous trap. Methodically reviewing AI-generated divs, writing exceptionally clear prompts, and applying rigorous engineering standards, that is still an absolute necessity if you want your code to actually survive in production. Finally, let's look at where all this flow state development is actually taking us. Section 5, the future of coding. This evolution is moving at breakneck speed. In 2025, we saw these tools drop 30% in cost while the agents essentially doubled in capability. Now, here in 2026, we're living right in the middle of the vibe coding breakout. But looking ahead to 2027, we're projecting a massive, industry-saturating 90% adoption rate. This agentic workflow is just going to be the default for anyone writing software. And it won't just be software improvements driving this. It'll be deep hardware integration, featuring specialized thinking hardware, like the highly anticipated Grok 4.2 architecture. The boundary between your abstract idea and a fully deployed application is shrinking down to practically nothing. Which really brings us to the core philosophy of this whole era. Vibe coding isn't about replacing developers. It's about amplifying them. As these models inevitably get smarter, the engineers who gain the biggest career advantage are going to be the ones who learn to seamlessly collaborate with these AI agents. Mastering these orchestration tools today, that's your unfair advantage. They're your leverage. They're definitely not your replacement. So, we've walked through the data, we've ranked the top tools, and we've laid out the actionable workflows. With 55% speed gains literally sitting at your fingertips right now, the only question left is, how are you going to implement these agentic workflows into your next project? Will you become the AI-amplified architect of tomorrow, or are you going to be the one left manually writing boilerplate while the entire industry just vibes right past you? Thanks so much for joining this explainer. Honestly, go spin up a free tier of Cursor or Cloud right now. Your code is waiting.